So rewind the calendar a little bit to February of this year. I get an email and the subject line says, "Business Inquiry PolarPro." I'm thinking to myself, this is some kind of gimmick, kind of spam or something to get me to open up the email. But nevertheless, I got to open it up just to see exactly what it was. And lo and behold, I couldn't believe it, but PolarPro is actually reaching out to me. Came across the YouTube channel, wanted to see if I'd be interested in reviewing a new product they were about to release. So I thought to myself, well, yeah, hell yeah, I would, absolutely, sign me up. And, I'm used to having to reach out to companies to kind of sell them on the idea of, collaborating and sending me a product to review. So it was really nice to have a company reach out to me for a change, especially a company like PolarPro being as successful as they are. And so they sent me over a lot of the spec sheets and information about the new product they're about to release. And I was super excited about it to find out that they were creating filters for full frame cameras, because notoriously they've always been focused on filters for drones and, of course, DJI drones specifically. So to find out that they were kind of testing the water on the full frame camera side, I thought that was fantastic news. But probably the thing that got me most excited about it was the fact that they were combining ND filters with polarizers into one filter. I thought that was a fantastic idea. That would mean one less filter you'd have to carry, one less filter you'd have to fuss around with trying to put on your lens element in the field. Just kind of make things a little bit more efficient. So I was very excited about it for multiple different reasons. And then, fast forward till a couple weeks ago when I got my set, they actually sent me the ND8, the ND8 with polarizer, and the 72 to 77 millimeter step-up ring, because I don't own a 77 millimeter lens. I own a 72 millimeter. My 70 to 200, which I believe is back there somewhere, that's the lens that I ended up testing all this on. But, just to kind of jump right into it, I think that PolarPro did a really nice job with the actual packaging. Each individual filter comes in a nice hard shell case. They all are labeled exactly what the case is for. You open them up. There's a nice hard foam inserts all around on the top and the bottom, which is specifically designed for the filter itself. So it's a nice tug fit. It won't come out even if you don't have the lid open, or even if you have the lid open, it won't come out. So it's really in there good. So that's nice. They're nice compact size, which is really good. But they actually even took it a step further and provided these kind of soft lens pouches. These are great. They got a nice I guess it's a felt line inside, but that's a nice touch too. And of course they're labeled as well with the PolarPro logo at the bottom right hand corner, and also in the bottom left hand corner, and also in the top left hand corner exactly what type of filter is in this pouch. So I really thought that was a nice touch that they sent both a soft carrying solution and a hard carrying solution. But probably the best part of it was they provide you with quite possibly the best lens wipe I've ever seen. I mean, these are absolutely fantastic. Look at that design. So I mean, it's all just the little things that at least that really get me excited about it. So when I was going through a lot of the specs that they provided, they were really touting the overall durability of these filters. They talked about the enhanced scratch resistance, water resistance, and things like that. So I thought to myself, what are the things that occur to me when I'm on location that could possibly scratch these lenses? And sand, of course, was the first thing that popped in my mind. If you're shooting near the ocean or anything like that, or the desert, sand is always blowing around. So it's a very common thing for sand to, be thrown up onto the actual filter itself. And then of course, sea spray or any kind of water, those are the two things that seem that are going to end up on the end of your filter more than anything. Now, I didn't want to test the durability with a butcher knife or with car keys or anything like that to really dig into it to see if I could scratch it, because just to be frank with you, I've never been on location and I had knives flying at my lens element or anybody walk by and throw their car keys at me or anything like that, and I don't think that's going to happen either. So I wanted to test it in a real life scenario, and so what I did is you know, I dropped a whole bunch of sand on top of these filters, probably, or actually I know for a fact more sand than probably ever would fall on your filter at once, just to kind of test that out. And also kind of coated it with water and everything like that. Dropped a lot of water on it. Once again, more water than you'd probably ever have on your filter or your lens element, unless you just dropped your entire camera into the water. But, you know, and shook it all off, no issues at all, no scratches, no residue, nothing at all. So, you know, and I even dropped the lenses, you know, from about 3 feet onto my desk just to see if that did anything to it. But the filter's got a nice brass, well, I don't know if it's brass, but they have a nice metal enclosure around the outside. Even dropped the filters kind of like pancake style flat down to see if that would crack the filter or anything like that, and nothing at all happened to any of it. So I can say that these are pretty durable. In a real life scenario, I don't think you're going to have any issues with these. They're definitely more durable than the Nissy filter system that I use now, because I've actually broke 2 of those before. Those are the square and rectangular style filters, and if you drop them on the ground, there's no question whether or not they're going to be broken. It's a certainty they're going to be shattered. There's nothing there to protect them. It is just pure glass. So I was excited about that. I'm a little bit rough on things and a little clumsy sometimes in dropping things. So I thought that was a great touch. As far as just the overall specs of the filters go, they tout that they're made of 99.9% pure fused quartz, and they have a low refractive index of 1.46. I have absolutely no idea what either of those mean, but I know that they're absolutely fantastic. Otherwise, they wouldn't be touting them as much as they do. It's all over all their marketing information, so I know it's a very big deal. It's very important. So I believe them. So I think it's great, the specs that they're using for it. Now, as far as the actual, you know, I took a bunch of different photos, a lot of different video to really kind of test them out. So I'm going to pull it up on the computer here. Scroll down to here. So, you know, this right here is with the polarizer, you know, in full effect here. And this is not, it's kind of, I find it easier for me personally just to kind of toggle back and forth between photos to really see the effect. So this is a full polarization. This is no polarization at all. So you can really see the difference, of course, in the sky, in the water, and the green in the trees definitely is increased the saturation as well. So, and here's some more. This is with the polarization. This is without. So with and without, you can really see it in the water, and of course the sky, and the colors really pop. So I mean, it's doing exactly what it is intended for. And also, and this is the ND8 with the polarizer. So this is the combined filter here as well. So, and here's, well, like if you look at the what do you call this? The windshield. The windshield, this is my truck here. This is with no polarization at all. This is with polarization, and you can see how it really removes the reflection from the hood of the vehicle and also the windshield as well. So full polarization, no polarization. Full, none. I think that one's really cool. I like that. This is actually probably my favorite one right here. So this is obviously, I'm sure you can guess it, there's no polarization here at all. Look at that difference. The difference is huge. I mean, the colors just explode. This, you can tell that this image is, there's a lot of haze in the atmosphere right here. And the filter just cuts right through all of the haze, really brings out the blueness in the sky, and the colors just explode. This is a great example of it. Oops, that's actually the thumbnail. So now this image here too, you can really see how it removes the shine from the leaves. So this is no polarization and polarization. It really increases the saturation, the blueness in the sky, and like I said, most importantly though, it removes the reflection off of the leaves. And that's honestly one of the things that I find most beneficial with polarizers. It's not so much just, you know, deepening the blueness of the sky, but it's removing reflections, and not just water either. It's reflection off of leaves. And the leaves don't have to be wet either. None of the leaves in these examples are wet. It actually hasn't rained in well over a couple weeks here in North Carolina. So everything is very dry, but you can see that the sun is still able to cast very harsh reflections on leaves. So being able to cut through that is definitely a big benefit. And you can really see it here as well. No polarization here, full polarization. and it really, saturations of colors drastically increases, and the reflection is reduced as well. So big difference there. Now, this image right here is with no filter on at all. So you can really see the light stoppage power and the polarizing effect of the filter. So this is with the ND8 and the polarizer, and this is with no filter at all. And then I believe this very next image is with just the ND8 filter alone. So that really kind of shows you the light stoppage power of the filter by itself. So this is with the ND8 filter alone. This is with no filter. So I mean, that's a lot of light stoppage power right there, and for it not being an ND1000 or any a 10-stop filter or anything like that, it's just an ND8. So a lot of light stoppage power there. And then this image here, this is with the ND8 and polarizer on, but the polarizer effect is turned down. This is when it's turned up. Huge difference. The sky's popping, the colors are popping, the reflection is minimized. I'll just kind of toggle that back and forth a little bit so you can take a look at that. And then this image right here is with no filter on at all. And then this image here is with just the ND8 filter alone. So I was pretty impressed by it all. As you can see, there is a pretty big difference in these filters. So I should say the having the filter on versus having no filter at all. So I was pretty impressed. There's not a lot of color shifting or color casting at all like that, which has been a common issue in cheaper filters. Usually, when you get into the better filters, you don't really have that issue very often. Now, as far as like the low refractive index or image degradation or sharpness or things like that, I'm not much of a pixel peeper, but I did the best I could, and I couldn't see any kind of sharpness issues or anything like that or weird anomalies. I mean, it was pretty spot on. So I thought that it was pretty impressive. Now, it was funny. I put a picture on my Instagram story the other day because I was actually impressed by the filter wipes. I love these things, and I put something on my Instagram story, and somebody responded and asked me, how much are these filters? And I can't believe it. I never even looked. I had no idea. So I looked it up, and I was kind of surprised actually. The ND8 with the polarizer, the 77mm one, of course the smaller one is a little bit cheaper, but the 77mm, this was retail for $239.99. And I thought for a second, I was like, whoa, that's kind of expensive. And then I kind of thought about it though. It's really two filters in one. So I honestly, that's really that's a pretty good deal. I think that's in line with really what it should be. My Nisi polarizer and my ND8 polarizer, they're of course they're two separate filters. If you combine the price of both of those, it's definitely more than $239.99. So I thought the price was reasonable for what it was. The ND8 filter by itself was $199.99, so it's $200 for that filter. So they're definitely on the on the higher end, but these are higher end lens filters. This isn't the cheap stuff, so you're definitely going to pay a little bit of a premium, but you're getting a very superior product. I never really had any issues with these. I haven't used screw-on filters for a while, mainly because I ran into issues a few years ago where you're rushing around, the light's perfect, and you couldn't get like a step-up ring off, or you had a filter stuck to the end of your camera and you were fussing around with that, and you ended up missing the moment you were trying to capture. I did have one small issue trying to get off the step-up ring. And I'm not sure if it was just a case of the screw threading on my camera was a little bit dirty or a little grungy and sandy. More than likely that's probably what it was, but outside of that, I had really no issues at all. Putting these filters on the camera, screwing them on was very smooth. Rotating the circular polarizer, no issue at all with that. They really went on very smooth. They came off very smooth for the most part. Like I said, just that one issue. So, overall, I'm definitely, pretty impressed. I think PolarPro, they didn't just dip their toe in the water. They went all in on the full frame filter game, and I think they really hit it out of the park for their first go at it. So, Definitely impressed. Once these things have been selling like hotcakes evidently, and are hard to get a hold of, but I think I'm going to try and get just the regular polarizer with no ND8 also. I'd like to just kind of test that out as well without the ND. I really like to compare polarizer only versus polarizer and ND combined to kind of check that out. But overall, really good stuff. I'll put links in the description below to everything here, so if you have any questions, you can really dig in there. And of course, if you have any questions, just leave me a comment below and I'll definitely get back in touch with you. Hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, I appreciate you watching, and I will see you all next week. Bye.